So in this lesson we will see viewport shading options and different options of shading the viewport, showing our scene in a different way to our eyes, right, on our screen. Now there are 4 different shading options. If you press Z on your keyboard, you can see them. You can see 4 different types. Currently we're in solid shading, or solid shaded view. The solid is the best for performance. Your computer for your computer is the easiest, and it's really good to your eyes, and you can work very comfortably in this shading. So I'll show you different shading options, shading modes and settings with a different example. So this is one of my models that I made I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, or maybe a year ago. I don't actually remember. This is solid shaded view. You can see how easy to orbit around it, how easy to look around, right? So it's for the computer, it's easy. Now let's look at these things. We can see that some of these in solid you can change the colors of objects, or you can make them even transparent, right? So, but there are other views. For example, let's go into a material preview. Take a moment. So this is material preview. It's a bit difficult for the computer to show this, right? So we can maybe remove one of them and look inside. So this is material preview, and the next one is wireframe. In wireframe you see the wires, right? All of your objects, you can see through your objects and see everything in wireframe shaded view. So what about render preview? This is the final preview. This is render, and you can see the final result of your work. You can you see the lights, you see everything, right? This is final preview, and each of them have different options, have its own options, all of them. Now as you can see in solid, I told you it's really good, it's easy to work with, and it's good for performance. But all of these options, these 4 options, have its own parameters, and you can find them here. There are 4 of them here: wireframe, solid, material preview, and render preview. So, and the next to them there is a little arrow sign, and if you click on this, you have options for each of these shading types. For example, for solid we have lots of options here. For wireframe, let's click on wireframe and see we have some options. For material, you can click on this and we have some other options, and for render we have different options too. So the most options are here in solid, because most of the time we spend in solid shaded view, so we have some options, and you can change them to your liking. For example, let's start to change a few things here, and what you have got here. For example, you can choose different studio lighting system, for example like this, or any one of these, whichever you prefer, whichever is good to your eye. You can even rotate the lights here, or just turn this off. And you have matte caps. We quickly looked at that before. And you have flat shading. Sometimes it can be useful to see the texture on it, and sometimes it's not useful. Now color, what color do you want to see on your object? Do you want to see material color, or object color, or what? Attribute, or maybe single color, any color you choose. And let's create some other objects quickly. We will look at that later. And let's take our monkey. What do you want to see? Do you want to see all of them in one color, or what? Random. Blender chooses very soft colors randomly, or texture. If your object has material and the material has texture, you can see them in this way. Or let's go back to material. So, and you have background, world background, viewport background. You can change anything here, and or theme background. All themes have their own backgrounds. For example, let's come preferences, themes. If you change these, for example, Maya, and you have different background, you can see it's kind of gradient background. Okay, Blender, no, Blender dark, and the background changed. Or you can change it to world or viewport, and you can change any color. So now this one, backface culling is good. For example, if you in all 3D software, 3D models or meshes have two faces. For example, let's take the plane GY. Let's come here. This can be this plane actually has two faces, front face and back face. This is front, this is back. You can check it like from here. For example, if you turn on backface culling, this is front, but this is back, and you see the back is not visible. Front is visible, back is not visible. So if you turn this on, and if you can't see something, it means you're seeing it from the other side. So you get the idea, right? X-ray, if you turn this on, you can see through objects. For example, you can see through your objects, and you have some options here. Or shadows, you can have shadows in your objects. Let's make it and you can see them right here, right? You can see shadows here now, but it's a bit more difficult for your computer to work like that. But you can maybe quickly, if you want to see the final result very quickly, you can change the shadow and turn on and change some things here. Cavity, I always turn this cavity thing on because sometimes it's really useful. Let's remove some of these things. Right click and delete. So, and add mesh cube, and I will quickly do something. You don't have to understand it now, how it's done, right? So now as you can see, this is something extruded inside, right? It is like a cave, but you can't see the borders of the rectangle, right? You can't see it. You can't see the depth. For example, if you look like that, it's really difficult to see the depth. But if you turn this cavity on, and you can start to see something, but still you don't see this part. So let's change the type to world instead of screen. Now you can see it much better. I always do this. It's a bit difficult for your computer, but if your computer is strong, it doesn't usually have any change. Or you can turn on both, and you can look. You can see the borders really clearly, and you can see cavity really clearly. So the depth. So I always turn this on, and I usually change it to world. And you can, if you turn on cavity, you have some more options right here, and you can play around with them and see. Depth of field. It is the camera depth of field. We will look at this when we learn about camera, but we don't often use depth of field in viewport. We use it in render settings. Outlines, we have some outlines. For example, let's turn on outline, and you can see it's not very I don't know if you can see it here, but if you look at the borders, you can see a very soft, very subtle outline. It's changing. You can see it for yourself, and you can change the color even, right? You can make it completely white, and you can see it easily. Yeah, outline. So you can do that. So it was, I think it was black. Let's change it back to black. And specular lighting, if you really care about that, you can turn it on and off, but I always keep it as it is, so I never change it. Now other options we won't see them now, but whenever we need it while we're working, we will see them, because they are not very important and you don't want to change them very often. So this is viewport shading options, and I showed it because we always use it. We always change a thing or two here to make our works even easier.